to Talking Business. I'm your host, Darcy Edwards with Edwards Realty Trust and Queen Bee Leadership Training. Talking Business is just that. We're talking business with business leaders, entrepreneurs, leaders in the community in Hillsborough, Washington County, and Oregon. This podcast is brought to you by Expose Hope. Catch us on all the platforms: YouTube, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, all the platforms. Like us, rate us, and share us. Hi, welcome. This is Talking Business. I'm Darcy Edwards with Edwards Realty Trust and Queen Bee Leadership Training. And today's guest, we have the Executive Director of Expose Hope and sponsor of this podcast, Miss Betty Campbell. So welcome. Thank you for coming and telling us the story of Expose Hope today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be able to share our story and increase community in the business community.
So very interesting. You are the executive director of this nonprofit. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it, how it came to be, and then we'll just keep going from there, and what comes up, comes up.
Well, Expose Hope is a nonprofit. We were created as an outreach to the adult entertainment industry and those persons who are trafficked. And we actually began in Hillsborough, Oregon, when I ran into a woman in a wheelchair crying outside of a strip club. And one thing led to another, and it made me think, who reaches out to these people to let them know they are loved, they are cared about, and that if they would want to change their lives, especially those who are trafficked, that there are options for them. And so I looked around, I really didn't find that much. So we decided we would do it. I started with just a team of 3, me and 2 other women, and it has just blossomed and grown. We're now in about 3/4 of the clubs in Portland metro area. We go to 82nd Street, 10th Street in Hillsborough, other areas that are high traffic areas. We're in Salem, Bend, Montana, and Great Falls. So, and Vancouver, of course, because Portland metro area kind of spans that.
Yep, crosses the river.
Mm-hmm.
The other part about that I find interesting is that you have chosen and to have community with business. What launched that idea to partner with businesses or to reach out to the business community? You also host All About Hillsborough, All About Tigard, All About Beaverton, All About Forest Grove Banks, all about. And so you do that also as a part of an outreach to the business community to help you fund, right? Mm-hmm. Expose Hope. So why don't you talk about how that came to be?
Well, I didn't come to nonprofit world as a nonprofit educated person. I came to it because there was a need. I had always been a for-profit business, so networking to me was something that you did a particular way. You become involved in the business community and you give back. Right. I'm a big believer in the giver's gain approach. If you give, you will get. And so that's how I came to it. And I find that not a lot of nonprofits understand that mechanism, that we're part of a whole picture. In fact, I've just recently written a book called Symbiotic Business about that we need each other. We're part of a puzzle that churches are in, religious organizations, the government is in that puzzle. Each of those pieces is important, and the community of business is hugely important.
Excellent. No, I love that. I love the whole how getting everyone symbiotically on the same page and helping together. So we're stronger when we're linked, right?
Yes, we are.
And going forward. So why don't you tell me about one of the proudest accomplishments that you have had in your nonprofit?
Well, every time that a trafficked woman leaves the arms of her pimp and begins to walk her own path, it's an amazing thing. When I'm tired and it's hard, I actually look back at the book of girls, ladies that we have gotten out, and men, because we have actually removed 2 men from the life. And it's amazing their life change and watching them take control and believe in themselves. And I can do this. That is my proudest moment. But I also am looking forward to a moment that I know is right around the corner, and that is opening our first home for trafficked women.
Excellent. That's fabulous. Would love to help you with that. And what can we do as a business community to help you?
Well, Expose Hope needs obviously all the same thing other businesses need. You know, we're buying the same products that you are. You need typing paper, you need, but you also need a business person and a bookkeeper, a virtual assistant, maybe an attorney. We need all of those things. So those who can donate their time so we don't have to pay for it is amazing, or give us discounts on the services. We need places to hold events.
Yes.
So event space is huge for us. And then, of course, becoming monthly donors, because we are 100% funded by businesses and individuals. So it's very important that we get businesses on board. I'm hoping to start an initiative soon called Businesses Against Trafficking. And so that businesses can actually help Expose Hope as we do these great things.
So why don't you not everybody understands that's going to be listening to this, what trafficking means and where we are in the Portland metro area as opposed to the rest of the country. If you can talk about that a little bit.
Trafficking is any time that a human being is sold for either labor, sex, or services. And so it's slavery. And it still happens in this country, unfortunately. Most of the women are not kept in shackles. They are mostly kept through mind manipulation. And it starts at a very, very young age. We have seen there are children out there trafficked from the age of 3, actually younger, but it usually starts about the age of 3. So any person, you don't have to be taken across state lines, who's being sold is a trafficked human being. And unfortunately for Portland, the Portland metro area has the highest percentage of legal sex industry clubs in the United States. That even outdoes Las Vegas per capita. We are number 1. Well, where there is more legal, there is more illegal. And so we always run between 1 and 3. And the latest that I heard was we are currently number 1 for trafficked human beings. That's children, women, and men. And we do see a lot of transgenders.
Right. Yeah. And that's another group of people that are, I would say, generally pushed out of the conversation, not represented. They're usually thrown out. Family members have rejected them. And so the fact that you're going out and, reaching out to that community to offer services is amazing and needed. And that's the thing that's the point of this podcast, whatever you want to call it, is to reach out to our members in the community, businesses, and bridge that gap of volunteering and giving and nonprofit work and coming together and for a common cause and need. And this is a common cause and a need.
It is. In fact,
community.
we republish the Bad Dateline.
Yes, I get that.
And we specifically do that mostly for our transgenders, our other ladies as well that are out on the streets. But it is actually published so that these women and men know, and transgenders, they know that there was somebody in this particular car, this was the license plate, this is what they look like, don't get in that car, this is what that person did. So it helps to keep them safe, because our transgenders are highly susceptible to all types of crime. We have dealt with 2 now that have been murdered, that have been very publicly mentioned. One, Nikki Kuhnhausen, was missing for 6 months, and we walked with her family during that. And it was a horrific experience, and she was murdered because of her choice. and because of her occupation. So our goal is to keep these people safe, and to keep them alive.
Alive. Because they're loved. And
They
that's
are.
at the
They are.
at the essence of your nonprofit is the message of love.
Exactly. We're not here to beat anybody up. We're here to say, wherever you are, we'll walk with you where you are. You don't have to make any changes for us. If you want to make a change, we'll walk with you. If you're struggling with something, if you have an addiction issue, if you're having problems with housing, if you're having problems, you have a lot of PTSD, you need some counseling or some 12-step programs to help cover that, we're there for you. We want to walk with those that we serve.
So I've had the opportunity to meet with a person that was taken out of the life, and I have watched her grow her business and become a realtor, and she's doing phenomenal. And she met with me, and it made my heart melt watching her. She doesn't work for me. She's in a different, way different city, state than me. But the fact that I was able to talk to her and mentor and maybe just like give some sound advice, that's a way of giving. We want your money too, by the way. But it's also great to be able to speak into someone's life and then watch them succeed.
Exactly. And we have a lot of business partners. So when I have a young woman who wants to do a particular business, I can get on the phone with our business partners and say, hey, we have this young woman or this gentleman who would love to be in your business. Can you just mentor them a couple of times? And it's amazing, that connection. Because so many people have these preconceived ideas about what is a stripper, what is a prostitute,
Right.
what is a porn star. And then when they meet a person in this life, all of those are blown out of the water because these are people and they're amazing human beings.
Right.
And they just have lived a different lifestyle than you, and many times not through a choice of their own.
Right. Well, hurt people, but they usually hurt themselves more.
Exactly.
And so
Exactly.
It's building back up that confidence that, derailing the lies that they were told about themselves that they would never amount to. No, they were gifted with certain gifts and talents and abilities to be greater and bigger than the person that trafficked them, usually.
Exactly.
So how do we find you and how do we give you some money?
Ooh. Well, you can find me in a lot of places. We are on the internet at www.expose, that's XPOSEHOPE.com. There's no E in the beginning. It's X like X-rated. And you can find me there. You can find us on Instagram and on Facebook. You can also find me on my personal public page, which is Betty Campbell with Expose Hope. And you can find me always at All About Business, which Expose Hope runs, which is a complimentary networking community for the business community, or at any of the All About sites.
Excellent. And All About Business is every Thursday morning, 8 a.m. It's a Zoom meeting, so you don't have to leave your house if you don't want to. And we'll add that to the show notes for where to find that if you want to register for that event. It's on Facebook as well. And thank you so much for coming. We so appreciate you doing this outreach to our business community. Our business community has been trashed a little bit last year. Was it?
Yes.
I heard something happened. I don't know. A pandemic? Whatevs.
Something like that.
But we just want to thank you for coming today.
Well, thank you. And if they would like to give, they can give right on the website. You can give a one-time donation, or you can set it up for monthly, which helps us keep our budget going. So, and can I tell you just a moment what we do with that money?
Yes. People want to know. Show me the money and where's it go?
It costs about $7,500 at a minimum. Usually it's closer to $10,000 to actually transition a woman out of the life. And that is time for mentoring, to pay mentors, to pay for housing, to get them apparel for jobs, to get their resume redone, to get a headshot, to get their LinkedIn up, to provide cooking equipment, all of those things, counseling. So it's about $7,500. And so the money goes there. It also goes into the gifts that we give out each month. And it helps to provide the housing that we are about to be offering, that will be a separate house for trafficked women. And so we cannot launch that without enough monthly donors to keep that house going. We're just waiting to hit the mark of the number of monthly donors that we need. And we also have advisory board positions open, and that price is going up really soon. And we have an annual event and other events. Just watch our events page. We're always doing something to help these ladies and men.
You are. You're absolutely inspirational. And I'm thankful that I get to serve with you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on our board.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening to Talking Business, brought to you by Expose Hope. We can be found on all of your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, iTunes, all of them. Also, be sure to like us, share us, and leave a comment. Who do you want to hear from? We want to know.